Why does everyone seem richer than you when you're doing everything right? Here's the truth. They're not. They're just better at faking it, and I'm about to show you the 7 tricks that are messing with your mind. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to see money completely differently. Trap 1. The lifestyle illusion. What people show you is usually not what's really happening with their money, and this trap is everywhere once you start noticing it. There was a time I had $700 each month for a car. I was being smart about it, so I bought a used 2020 Honda Civic for $22,000. My payment was $380 a month, and with gas and insurance, I was spending that $700. My goal: pay it off in 4 years and then own it free and clear. No more payments, just a reliable car that gets me from point A to point B. Then my coworker Sarah was driving a brand new 2024 Audi A3. She made the same money as me. I knew this because we both started at the company around the same time, same position, same salary. One day at lunch, she told me her car payment was $495 a month and she was stressed about it. I sat there confused. That car costs at least $48,000. How is her payment only slightly more than mine? I started questioning myself. Am I doing something wrong? Should I have gotten a nicer car? Am I being too cheap? Here's what Sarah wasn't telling me. She was leasing it with a special promotional deal. In 2.5 years, she had to give the car back to the dealership. She paid $4,800 up front that she conveniently left out of the conversation. Her gas costs were higher because it required premium fuel. Her insurance was way more expensive because it was a luxury vehicle. And when the lease was up, she'd have nothing to show for it except the memory of looking successful. On the surface, we both paid about the same each month. The real story? She was struggling to keep up appearances while I was building actual equity in something I'd owned. This trap ruined my peace of mind because I was comparing my real life to her carefully edited highlight reel. And it wasn't just cars. I saw it everywhere. My neighbor's house, my friend's vacation photos, my cousin's new phone. People were financing lifestyles they couldn't afford just to look like they were doing well. Meanwhile, I was over here doing the responsible thing and feeling like I was behind, but I wasn't behind. I just wasn't playing the fake it game. And that's actually a good thing. Stay focused on yourself. Control what you can control. Block out the noise. Trap 2. The invisible wealth paradox. Here's something nobody talks about. Wealth is often invisible, but debt is loud. I thought about how I spent my money. I like to invest and spend on great experiences. That dream trip to Patagonia I'd been saving for, or those amazing concert tickets I finally bought. I was putting money into my retirement account every month. I was building an emergency fund. I was even investing in index funds and learning about stocks. Then I looked at my friend Marcus. He had expensive watches. He upgraded his phone every single year. He wore designer clothes head to toe. His apartment was full of the latest gadgets and furniture from expensive stores. His social media looked like a lifestyle magazine. And I started thinking, how is he affording all this? We make similar money. What am I doing wrong? But here's what I didn't see. Marcus didn't invest anything. His savings account had maybe $800. His idea of planning for the future was hoping he'd make more money someday. His version of adventure was scrolling through Netflix trying to find something to watch. Who was really wealthy? I was, even though it didn't feel like it when I was scrolling through Marcus's Instagram. He had things people could see and envy, but I was building real money that grew over time through compound interest. I had financial security that let me sleep it, plus I had amazing memories and experiences that actually shaped who I was as a person. When you spend on material things, people notice immediately. And when I built wealth quietly in my investment accounts, nobody saw it. My friends didn't know I had $35,000 in my retirement account. They didn't see the $8,000 in my emergency fund. They didn't know about the slow and steady growth happening in my portfolio. But they definitely saw Marcus's new watch that cost $3,200. Here's the thing though. In 10 years, my investments might be worth $120,000 or more. Marcus's watch, still worth maybe $1,800 if he's lucky. His phone, completely worthless. His clothes, out of style or worn out. I felt behind at the time, but I was actually way ahead. I just couldn't see it yet because real wealth is invisible. Don't torture yourself comparing your invisible progress to someone else's Instagram aesthetic. Real wealth is boring. It's spreadsheets and automated transfers and saying no to things you want today so you can say yes to things you need tomorrow. Trap 3. Real wealth is quiet. Really rich people don't show off online. In fact, they actively avoid it. They're not your social media role models because they're deliberately not on social media. I once had coffee with someone worth over $200 million, and I'm not exaggerating that number. This person had sold multiple companies and was involved in several successful startups. What was he wearing? Regular khakis and an old hoodie that looked like it came from Target. His car, a 7-year-old Toyota SUV with a dent in the door. His watch, I genuinely don't remember because it was so unremarkable. I would have walked right past him in a grocery store and never guessed he had that kind of wealth, and that's exactly how he wanted it. And when we talked about money, you know what he said? He told me that the wealthiest people he knows all have one thing in common. They don't care what strangers think about them. They stopped playing the status game years ago because they realized it's exhausting and pointless. I thought about the people I assumed were rich because of what they posted online. Then I thought about the wealthiest person I actually knew in real life, and I realized that wealthy person wasn't posting their lifestyle online. They were just living their lives quietly and comfortably. I knew someone growing up whose family had serious money, like private jet-level money. She'd post vacation photos on social media, sure, but only the normal tourist stuff. A picture at the Eiffel Tower, a selfie at the Louvre, maybe a shot of some famous beach, never the private yacht she traveled on. Never the 5-star resort where she stayed. Never the private villa her family rented. When I eventually found out the whole story from mutual friends who knew her better, it all made sense. Real wealth wants privacy. Being anonymous means being safe. It means people treat you normally instead of differently. It means you don't become a target. Peace of mind is way better than getting likes from strangers on the internet. Meanwhile, research shows that young people are buying more and more luxury items with credit cards. One study found that nearly 60% of luxury purchases by people under 30 are financed somehow. Credit cards, payment plans, buy now, pay later services, that flashy lifestyle you're jealous of, it's often paid for with borrowed money and growing debt that's quietly destroying their financial future. So when you're scrolling and feeling bad about your life, remember this. The people showing off the most usually have the least. The people who actually have money, you'd never know it by looking at them. Don't believe everything you see online. Actually, don't believe most of what you see online. Trap 4. Always looking up. I had this habit, we all do, of only comparing myself to people above me on the ladder. I never looked at people who had less than me because it didn't feel motivating or aspirational, but I thought about it differently for a second. I had a roof over my head every night. That already put me ahead of millions of people worldwide. I had 3 meals that day. I was doing better than a huge portion of the global population. I had access to clean water whenever I wanted it. That's a luxury that billions of people don't have. Where I was born, what family I was born into, what opportunities came my way, I didn't choose any of that. It was random luck. What mattered was making the best of what I had, not constantly wishing I had what someone else had. But I didn't compare myself down. I always compared up. And one of the worst ways I did this was with job titles. I was a coordinator, and I felt like that title sounded less impressive than my friend who was a director at a startup. I felt embarrassed when people asked what I did because my title didn't sound important enough. But here's the truth I learned. Job titles mean almost nothing. A vice president at a 50-person startup might have less responsibility and authority than a manager at a Fortune 500 company. Titles don't mean the same thing across different companies, different industries, or different cities. My friend who was a senior director at a small tech company managed 3 people and made $85,000 a year. Meanwhile, I was a specialist at a massive corporation making $130,000 a year with way more actual influence on company decisions. Small companies and startups especially give out big titles to make people stay. It's cheaper to promote someone's title than to give them a real raise. Director sounds great on LinkedIn, even if the job isn't that important and the pay is mediocre. Here's what I should have asked myself instead of worrying about titles. Am I learning new skills that make me more valuable? Do I actually like the work I'm doing? Am I creating real value for other people? Am I moving toward the life I actually want? Not the life Instagram tells me I should want. Your personal growth matters. Your skill development matters. Your happiness matters. Fancy titles on business cards, they don't matter at all. If you feel genuinely stuck in your career or your financial situation, fix that specific problem. Take a course. Learn a new skill. Network with people in your industry. Ask for more responsibility at work. Start a side project. But don't waste your energy being jealous of someone else's job title that might mean absolutely nothing. Trap 5. The overnight success lie. I've done this. I was scrolling through my phone late at night and I came across someone who turned $15,000 into $890,000 in 12 days trading options. There were screenshots, proof, everything, and my brain immediately did the math. I made $70,000 a year. I worked hard all year, 50 weeks, hundreds of hours, to earn less than this person made while literally sleeping just because they clicked some buttons on a trading app. That hurt. It made me feel like I was doing something fundamentally wrong with my life. Like I was the idiot for going to work every day when I could be making life-changing money from my couch. But here's The massive truth they don't show you. For every spectacular win that gets posted and celebrated, there are thousands upon thousands of people who lose everything. I didn't see the guy who turned $95,000 of his life savings into $2,400 in 3 days. Nobody celebrates him. People just cringe in the comments while he deals with very real trauma and financial destruction. I remember reading one post that stuck with me. The person wrote, "I wish I could go back to last Tuesday before everything crashed. Yes, it was Tesla call options. My wife doesn't know yet. We have 2 kids. I'm 44 years old and I'm starting over from absolute zero. I don't know what to do." Can you imagine being in that position? That kind of loss doesn't recover in a year, maybe not in 5 years. Maybe it damages your marriage. Maybe it affects your kids' college plans. Maybe it changes the entire trajectory of your life. I felt tempted when I saw those big wins. I thought, just once. What if I get lucky just once? But that's exactly how people lose everything. Real wealth builds slowly, boringly, predictably. It's through consistent work, smart decisions, patience, and time. Lots and lots of time. There are no shortcuts that work for normal people. The lottery winners and the lucky traders and the viral success stories, those are the exceptions that prove the rule. Hard work and discipline and showing up every single day matter way more than getting lucky once. Because even if you get lucky once, if you don't have discipline, you'll lose it all just as fast. Trap 6. The hidden sacrifice nobody talks about. Here's what really bothered me about comparison culture. Most success stories completely hide the sacrifices that made them possible. I saw someone my age with an amazing investment portfolio, a nice house, and what looked like financial freedom. What I didn't see was that maybe they spent 8 years working on dangerous offshore oil rigs. They were away from home 300 days a year. They missed their kids' birthdays, their anniversaries, their parents' health scares. They worked in extreme weather conditions and risked serious injuries or long-term health problems from chemical exposure. They did all of that to make $140,000 a year, and they saved almost every penny because there was nothing to spend it on when you're on an oil rig in the middle of the ocean. Was it worth it? Maybe to them, yes. Would I make that same trade? Maybe not. Or I thought about the successful corporate lawyer. Maybe they worked 90 to 100 hours every single week throughout their entire 20s. They lost relationships because they were never available. They developed anxiety and insomnia from the constant stress and pressure. They missed weddings, funerals, family reunions. They sacrificed their health, their friendships, their hobbies, everything just to make partner by age 35 and earn $400,000 a year. Again, was it worth it? For some people, absolutely. But for me, maybe that price was way too high. When I saw someone successful at 32, I was only seeing the end result. I was seeing the nice car, the nice house, the vacation photos. I didn't see the divorced marriage behind it. I didn't see the strained relationship with their kids. I didn't see the therapy bills or the medication they took to manage their stress. I was comparing my whole complicated life to someone else's carefully selected highlight reel. And that wasn't fair to me. Understanding this, really understanding it, completely eliminated the comparison urge for me. Because once I realized that success usually comes with hidden costs, I stopped being jealous. I started asking myself, well, would I pay that price? And often the answer was no. Trap 7. The family money advantage. Then there was the elephant in the room that nobody wanted to discuss. Generational wealth and family money. Some people looked successful not because they worked harder or smarter than me, but because they started the race 5 miles ahead, and there was no way for me to catch up to that. So comparing myself to them was completely pointless. That beautiful apartment in the expensive part of the city, their family owned the building, that successful startup they launched, funded entirely by their parents' connections and money, those frequent international vacations paid for with a family credit card that got settled by a trust fund, that investment portfolio they were so proud of. They inherited $200,000 at age 25 when their grandmother passed away. This wasn't about whether they were good people or whether they worked hard. Many of them did work hard, but they were playing a completely different game than I was. They had a safety net I didn't have. They could take risks I couldn't afford to take. They could follow their passion without worrying about rent because, worst case scenario, they moved back into their parents' house that was paid off. I knew someone who quit their job to find themselves and travel for a year. Everyone thought they were so brave and adventurous. What people didn't know was that their parents owned 3 rental properties that generated enough passive income to fund the entire trip. There was zero financial risk. Meanwhile, I couldn't quit my job for even a month because I'd lose my health insurance and couldn't pay rent. That wasn't a fair comparison. That wasn't even the same sport. When I saw people living these seemingly perfect lives, especially when they were young, there was often family money quietly supporting it in the background, and that was fine. Good for them. But I couldn't torture myself comparing my self-made journey to their family-funded highlight reel. We were playing different games with different rules, and understanding that set me free from so much unnecessary stress and jealousy. The real truth about wealth. Here's what actually matters at the end of the day. Build your own path at your own pace. Stop looking sideways at what everyone else is doing. Invest your energy and time into what genuinely makes you happy and fulfilled. Not what makes you look successful on social media, not what impresses people you don't even like, what actually lights you up inside and makes you excited to wake up in the morning. Control what you can control, your spending habits, your saving rate, your skill development, your attitude, your effort. You can't control the economy, your starting point in life, other people's advantages, or what cards you were dealt. Ignore everyone else's scoreboard. Their wins don't make you a loser, their head start doesn't mean you can't finish strong. Their advantages don't diminish your own progress and achievements. Do this consistently, day after day, year after year, and you'll find something way better than looking successful to strangers on the internet. You'll actually feel good about your life. You'll have real peace. You'll sleep well at night. You'll be proud of what you've built with your own two hands. And that feeling, that's worth more than any luxury car or designer watch or impressive job title could ever be. If this video helped shift your perspective even a little bit, make sure you check out my other content about building real wealth the right way. I'll see you in the next one.